an Army Lieutenant Colonel Jack in the National Guard, working in the federal government. I am so glad you guys are here because many times when I'm in events, whether in the Army, at school, at law school, I think I come from somewhat of a silent group that it's not seen generally, but over the last 10, 15 years, it's definitely had a boom, if not in numbers, in so many other areas. I think the appointment of Justice Sonia Sotomayor to the Supreme Court culminated that coming out party of a group that has been throughout the nation even before the settlers cut off the Mayflower. And at different stages, through different phases of our nation, it's grown, and over the last decades, it has, without a doubt, increased in Virginia. I remember going to my aunt's house in Annandale in 1977, and I guess they were probably one of the few Hispanics in the area. And then by 1985, when I came to Fort A.P. Hill as an Eagle Scout and visited them in Great Falls, it was the same thing. And by now, anywhere I go, when I go to work with Senator Margaret Whipple in Richmond, I meet someone that says, oh, you need to go to this restaurant or this event, or we're having this at VCU, or we want you to speak to the NAACP. And by now, if you just look at the Washington Post today, you see that even the estimates were undercounted. And today we have 632,000 Latinos, which is basically 8% of Virginians. That is pretty much 1 out of every 12 Virginians. It's a Hispanic. We have 40 senators, we have 100 delegates, and out of that 140, if you were going to do proportion 8%, that would mean we would have 11 members of the General Assembly, and we have 0. Okay? Obviously, it's not a concentrated population. I wouldn't describe the Latino population throughout the Commonwealth as one that's segregated. To the contrary, we are pretty much everywhere from Galax to the Hampton Roads area, to Richmond, to Arlington, to Fairfax, to Loudoun, to, believe it or not, Prince William. In most places where there are large concentration, I guess that was ironic, no? Spice it up a bit. But in most areas of the Arlington, Fairfax, Alexandria, you get areas where it's 15 to 16%, jurisdictions in the high teens. Believe it or not, the largest concentration is in Prince William. Latinos are over 20% of Prince William County in 2010. You were mentioning about, I give you other areas that are important to look at. Manassas Cities and Manassas Park. If you look at those numbers, they're probably even higher as a group. Without a doubt, if you look throughout the Commonwealth, Latinos do work in the coalition perspectives, whether it's in Richmond working along the African American community, or whether it is in the Northern Virginia area working with the Asian American community. I would definitely call it a coalition approach to representation. I will specifically mention the 49th House of Delegates district, because the 49th House of Delegates district today in the new census has 37% white non-Hispanic population, 34 Hispanic population, 14 African American population, and 10% Asian American population. So when you add those numbers up, you come to a 58% coalition of minorities. But that district in Northern Virginia, it's 13,000 people short, okay? Which is, I think it's around anywhere from 15 to 17% below. So when you look at inside the Beltway and you look at that district, it's, if you go to the VPAP site, it's going to be the only one that has a deviation that is above 5%. So that district will have to be augmented, increase in population to get to the 80,000, depending on the deviation we just discussed. So I hope that when that is seen in a district like that, and I don't know if we've been discussing incumbency or not, but there is a district that has already been created where you clearly have a coalition, which in fact, in 2003, in the election, there were 2 Latino candidates. two Latino candidates got, you know, less than 100 votes than the candidate that won, Delegate Adam Evin, who's the current delegate. And I do know there are other candidates looking into running for that district, so I can indicate that it'll be an interesting one to see, and I hope it's kept as a coalition district. Lastly, I want to point out the issue of community of interest, because it's being raised. I know the Vietnamese American lady that spoke earlier spoke about the coalition and the concept. I think without a doubt, in the Latino community, there are a number of issues that you can see that meet the community of interest definition. One is, if you're looking at experience and political positioning, the fact that 40% are immigrants. It's an experience that can be shared with many other groups in the Commonwealth that are also recent immigrants. The language cannot be underestimated. You know? 2 out of our last 3 governors, indeed Governor King, in his swearing-in speech, spoke Spanish in Williamsburg. So, and Governor Warner also speaks Spanish. So, but I don't mean it on that sense. On the sense of the community, there's no doubt that the language, the fact that it is of a Latin American ancestry, whether it's from Cuba, Puerto Rico, we have a large number of Mexicans picking tomatoes on the Eastern Shore and in the Hampton Roads area, whether it is many Puerto Ricans like me that have come for Army service, whether at Fort Lee, Fort Pickett, for Belvoir, all those, they're here. There is no doubt that that if I'm in a room or if I go to a town in the Commonwealth, I will be able to make that link of the community of interest. And if you go around, you take Little River Turnpike right now, and you go inside the Beltway or even outside the Beltway, or in Prince William County, you will see that community of interest concept. You don't need to go too far to see what has happened in Prince William County over the last few years. And if you look at the documentary 9500 Liberty, you will see how that community reacted to an action of the Board of Supervisors. So I thank you for your service. This year was not the best year for citizen commissions in the Commonwealth. So I'm glad that you are serving. And I just wanted to bring that because I don't know how many other of the 632,000 Virginians of Hispanic ancestry you will get an opportunity to hear from. So thank you for your service and I look forward.
Questions or